I'll be back there.
Okay.
Call the meeting to order for the Park and Rec Commission, March 24th, 2015. Roll call.
Let the record show that all of the commissioners are present except for Howard Gould and James Hale.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everybody turn off their cell phone? I did. Okay, the first thing we have is a ceremony. We waiting for Dave for that, Penny?
Yes.
How does it feel, Cheryl, to be sitting on that end of the bench? Is it different? Yeah, I've never seen you in there. It's right there. How many years? 13. Yeah, you were an old timer when I came 7 years ago. Yeah, thank you for showing up, Mr. Fair.
Well, they call this a grand entrance. I actually realized that some of the stuff we're reviewing, I had it on 11 by 17s, which doesn't fit on Elmo. So for the television audience to see it, I had to have it printed down a little bit lower. So
We are right in the middle of ceremonies, and we're waiting on you.
well, I'm going to go to the podium for this.
Dave, there's a handheld mic there for you. Kit wanted me to show you right
Okay,
now.
well, when I go out there, I will. But
Okay.
we're going to make Cheri go through all of this. Yeah. 13 years. For some of us, it seems less. Right, for Cheri, it seems a little bit longer. But I think we're very fortunate when you look at our Park and Rec Commission over the years. All the people who have been active in it, including you folks, some that have gone on and retired, like we're seeing this happen here. But the things that are accomplished. And so many times we don't realize what all's been done. So in those last 13 years, 156.6 acres of parkland was added in that time. And that's something that commission members have a hand in it, and it doesn't just happen. We put in 10 parks developed, numerous upgrades to systems. We took opportunities of grants. We looked at everything. A lot of meetings. We did different programs, new programs, Tri-Camp, Shoes and Brews, Flag Football League, the Park Master Plan, 3 revisions to our impact fee CIP, and just the whole impact fee system. Dealing with that takes time. Commission spends a lot more time on it than I think people realize, because we go back and we look at our levels of service. We look at our CIPs, we look at all that stuff, and we decide, are we on track? The tree giveaway started. And this is a shameless plug that it is coming up again in April.
The 11th.
Yes. But all of these things that you've done have had an impact on the community. And the people has made Post Falls better. From our parks and the special events, park days. I said 10 parks. Beck Park, I had to write it down because I might not remember. Beck Park, Chase Park, purchasing the Anselmo property and putting in a temporary soccer area for that. Kiwanis Park, the Crutch property that was our first big purchase. I said Kiwanis Park, Park in the Meadows, the skate park, that's when you first got on board. Syringa Park, Woodbridge, and the Karen Streeter Greenway.
Wow.
All great projects, all a little bit different and have an impact on the community. special events that we have, some of the upgrades that we've been able to do in the parks. Syringa. Adding pickleball, trying that out and going against the trend and not tying up our tennis courts, but finding that separating, actually doing it for the use has been a great thing for us. And I love this picture because it really shows what we do. It's one of the new parks. It was Woodbridge. And you look at the impact and the ability to have all those events stretched out. So sometimes when we think that we're not getting it all done, we actually do accomplish a lot, and we thank you for that. Now, Kit says I have to take you up front so you get to receive this. I'm going to have to hold it this way for a minute so I can actually read it. But a certificate of appreciation, Cheri Hodl, in recognition of 13 years of dedicated service to our community on the Park and Recreation Commission. I can talk. June 2002 to February 2015. So thank you very much.
I don't know what to say. You forgot the trailhead shelter was built.
Until the commissioner comment.
It's a work in progress.
I've been thinking about all the different parks and things that in the last 13 years and how much has changed, and that we're on TV now.
Yes.
And we have computers now instead of the big notebooks we picked up at the police station.
Yeah.
Just so many things have changed in the 13 years, but there was a lot of things accomplished. Sometimes you talk about things for a long time and you have to be patient because they do get completed. So, yeah, they do. And Dave has a lot of big dreams, and it's fun to be here and help see that be fulfilled. And I just want to thank you. Full opportunity for me to be here to serve the community. And thank you.
Yep. I will open it up to you folks if there's anything you want to say, or you can at least shake hands.
Hugs over the top. Thank you. You've been my partner in crime for the past 10 years. So yeah.
We visited the other night, and it's been a joy for 7 years, and I've learned a ton. Walked parks, sat at meetings, discussions, thoughts, arguments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And I'll be seeing you.
Thank you so much. You made a huge impact in the community. I mean, 13 years is amazing, so thank you. You know we will. We need your cell phone number before you leave.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cheri.
Thank you, Joe.
Yes.
Thank you. For
13 years? Boy, that's a long time.
It's a
That's
long time,
outstanding.
isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot has been done during that time. A big impact.
Thanks, Cheryl. Okay, we'll move on. I'll try to stay in order now. Cover election officers under new business. Any
Yeah. When we
amendments
get,
to the agenda?
well, no amendments, but I would like to make a note under the, when we get to elections of officers for the 2015. Right now, noting that we are a little depleted today, my recommendation to you folks would be to table it until the next meeting so that you have full participation.
We'll bring that up.
You can, guys can think about that, and when we get there, you can make your decision if you wish to do that or not.
Thank you. Okay, let's look at conflicts. Any conflicts? Okay, approval of the minutes. Penny?
We have a motion to,
Motion. Can I have
I'll make a motion.
please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
all right. We'll do a vote. Davis?
Aye.
Gorley?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
Nordum?
Aye. Okay, I see the next thing on our agenda is an executive session. I would need a motion for this.
Okay. I move to enter an executive session for the following purpose pursuant to Idaho Code Section 67-2345, subsection 1-C, to conduct deliberations in real property, and further that no final action or making of any final decision shall be made in the executive session, and that the executive session shall last no longer than 15 minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Davis?
Aye.
Gorley?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
Nordum?
Aye. We'll adjourn to
motion.
Second?
A second?
All in
Okay,
favor?
roll call vote, Davis.
Aye.
Gorley.
Aye.
Martinez. Nordum.
Aye. Okay, now we have a motion for the executive session meeting?
Actually, we'll go ahead and move to Tullamore and then do.
Okay,
You can do
we'll
it.
come back to that.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the concept of the,
After the,
I thought you just looked at me.
Sorry. Let's go ahead and, I'll go up and we'll start the
Okay.
Tullamore discussion.
Tullamore,
Perfect.
and then we'll do our motion.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamie.
If you'll bear with me for just a second. So with the Tullamore Park that we have the footprint set for, we've gone through public hearing, we took the surveys. Last time we went over what the public comments were. We had, now it's a senior moment, about 40, 45 different people. So we took all of that, we went back into working with the developer on the design. So as you can see, we looked at the comments about the amount of parking. That was a big issue. There were concerns, with the play site, things that not large enough. Some it was too close to the splash pad. Some it was too far away. And we looked at all of those. We looked at the soils again and how they laid out. So we've made some adjustments in there. But for the most part, what people like, the amphitheater, the shelter up towards the top area up in here, pickleball courts, active down in here, kept all of that. And we went back in working with the developer. When this whole process started out, we went ahead and looked at the possibility of taking the 8 acres, was actually 8.2 acres, this is 8.4. We looked at that and trading it for a sports complex because that's been on the department's CIP. A number of the residents came forward saying they really wanted the park there. It became a big enough issue that we backed off of doing a trade for the land, recognizing that a park needed to be there. The concept of the park was a little cumbersome, which led us to this design. However, we have continued to work with the developer. And just for reference, when we originally looked at it, parkland, the park's right in here that we're putting in. This was the land we were trading for up in here, and that's where the Highway District pit is. We've continued to work with that. We do have the footprint that has been set. At this point, through a lot of meetings with Copper Basin, I think we've maybe come up with a compromise or a solution that works and meets everybody's needs. It meets the neighborhood's needs for a community park. It meets the community's need for a sports complex. Since Quad Park went out of business, we weren't able to swing the deal to purchase that for 2 different times. But there's still been a demand for a sports complex, an adult softball league, and some multi-use fields. So we've worked on that layout. One of the proposals that, as we just discussed, had to do with the possibility of trading part of the development of this park. We would take that on. The park would still stay there as a neighborhood park, and we would trade that for the land that would become a future sports complex. We do have areas we have to work out, a few details on what is the actual cost, but we're pretty close on those figures right now. So we've talked about the concept, and I'm looking for some direction from you folks related to the concept of trading out for the sports complex land and doing a partnership in development for the Tullamore Park so that the community there has a neighborhood park. So I'm open for questions.
For just a couple clarifications, we had multi-site plans, 1, 2, 3. Is this one closer to 2 than any of the others? Or did we move them enough that there really isn't a number anymore?
No, it's probably closer to 2. The one thing that was very, people liked, it was pretty evenly split between 1 and 2.
Right.
But when you went to the comments, the amount of parking was a very big issue. They wanted to see more parking. This parking lot was the one that design was what was preferred. They liked the northern layout. They liked the amphitheater. Location of sledding hills was all across the board. Some wanted more, some wanted nothing because of they wanted visibility. There's noise concerns, so we did move some of the active stuff up a ways.
And because of the comments is why I brought that up. There were a lot of
Right.
comments that I read. Okay. And another clarification for our viewers is this footprint is 8.4 acres?
Correct.
And for developing this 8 acres, the land and the trade is how many acres? For clarification.
Just over 25 acres.
Okay, thank you.
And then when you speak about the partnership of developing this park, can you just kind of explain what that would look like?
As I said, we're still working out a few of the details, but really, as we approached it, there are things that the developer is very good at, the roads, the hardscape, utilities, and there are things we're really good at. We're good at irrigation, we're good at the grass, we're good at the landscape, we're good at putting in playgrounds. So those are things we would take on, and Copper Basin would do the parking lots. They would do the utilities to the restroom. They would do, we're looking at the hardscape for the basketball court and the pickleball courts. It's all the same type of thing, and they would do all the land grading for both sites. I guess one question or one thing, to develop it, we'd be using impact fees.
Yes.
And yes, we do have sufficient impact fees to finish the park.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll move on then.
Actually, if I could get a motion,
Yes, we'll move on to a motion.
or lack of motion.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the concept of the land trade for the sports complex with the shared development of Tullamore Park. Go
Very
to
good.
council.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Penny.
Okay. We'll vote. Davis?
Aye.
Gorley?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
Nordum?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. The next step is we'll tighten down the final numbers, and then it will go to the city council for their approval. We still have a lot of things to do, but I think this comes out as a win-win. Meets so many different needs for the community. Timeline, in looking at what the developer was looking at, I think there's some things we could start this summer, at least where the old pond was, get that filled, and then we'd work with him as he brings in soils and does the rough grading and the finish grading. Then, so we'd probably be in about the same timeline as if it was just left to the developer. Okay?
This is something we've been talking about for years, clear back when Cheryl and Tammy talked about it when I came 7 years ago, and you guys have been here, you've been here 13.
10.
10. Wow. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a great plan. Thank you. Okay, any citizen issues, see any, under new business, we discussed this earlier, to give everybody and the other members that aren't here tonight a chance to vote, I would like a motion that we delay election of officers until our meeting in April. And that'll be a meeting and not a workshop, or a workshop
The next meeting will be a workshop.
in April. We can do
It's still an
election at a
official meeting,
workshop.
so it's, you can, yes, you can table it to the next meeting.
So I would like a motion that we table election till a workshop.
Make a motion that we table it.
Second,
Second it.
roll call.
Roll call, Davis.
Aye.
Dorley.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Nordum.
Aye. Okay, that takes care of business. Any other new business? Any commissioner new business?
I just want to make a comment on
Yes.
us postponing the election portion, which I'm totally fine with. Just, I'm going to give Rick a plug. Because of his schedule, he's been so available to make so many meetings for us and has just pushed so many things forward that we've never been able to do before. So I'm just making a note that next month I'm going to be nominating Rick to be our chairman again. And we really appreciate the work that you've been doing. So
I will accept for another year, too, if that happens. Thank you.
we'll officially do that next month.
Okay, we'll move on to administrative staff reports. Mr. Fair.
What I wanted to introduce to you folks is our new year-end report for 2014. A lot of staff time went into this, both through our department. I know Brian Meyer spent a lot of time in Mitzi. And then Media Center, Kit put it together into this format. So a lot of different areas, divisions, all came together to make this. My challenge is, can I read it in this size? Probably not. But I did want you to see what the flip book looks like. This is online, or going online, I should say.
That's Falls Park, the picture?
That one probably was, yeah. So if anybody's received an email from me in probably the last 10 years, one of my famous things that I keep as my tagline is, in less than 20 years, Post Falls is expected to double in size. Where will we all play? And that's kind of been the mantra as we look at going with our little snapshot of the city. And as we've set everything up, it's been how to keep the same levels for everybody who comes in. So guess what? I went all the way to the back, so we're going to go get your agenda, you're welcome, who our leadership is. Some of the numbers that we've had, and I'm not going to try and go down. I can actually bring it up in a PDF so you can see it, but I wanted you to see the flip book format, and then I'll switch out to a PDF on it. So it's a little more interactive, a little bit smoother on design. So I'm going to bring this down to
You're not going to read us your message, are you?
no. It's really not that good. It's about as good as the picture, so. One of the things, you know, we wanted people to understand just a snapshot of our system. So we have 456 acres of parkland. You know, bring that up just a little bit so people at home can actually hopefully read it too.
We were 300 when you came, Cheri.
142,000 plus hours, participation hours by youth and adults in our system. That's just for scheduled events. That's not the special events, it's just program hours. Volunteer hours, 19,000.
Wow.
And I know for a fact that we missed somebody, so we're probably over 20,000 hours. When you look at some of the groups that have come in, we're getting better at tracking it, but there's a lot of things that go there. You know, over 7,000 individual enrollments into our programs. 68 different programs offered. 12.26 miles of trail. That's the Centennial Trail, the Karen Streeter. That's not the trails inside your parks. 112 rock climbing routes. And as we open up the Crutch property, we'll probably triple that. If we get some of the other land around Camille Park, once again, the opportunities are endless. 12,600 urban trees. That's not trees in our parks, that's the street trees.
Now, we're categorizing every one of those and logging them. Where are we at now? Do you know? Halfway, a quarter?
That's roughly where we're at right now.
12,000.
We are going through our inventory, and then we're going along.
And that's a mapping.
We have 12 zones.
Wow.
We also put, you know, along with some of the nice pictures, we wanted a little bit of a kind of the history, or maybe it's a timeline. We thought was important. Evergreen Cemetery is the oldest facility in the city, since I got it with the creation of the city. So that was 1881. It was created, so it was before the city came on board. 1917, the city actually acquired it. The Black Bay Park was acquired in the 1940s. It was either 43 or 44. Just not quite sure of when it actually got signed in that. And that was a former council member. When he couldn't get the city to buy it, he went ahead and bought it and donated it to the city. It was 100 acres at the time. Donated for parkland. And you go through that and you'll see when we got Corbin Park and Camillin and created Hildy Kellogg Park, that was actually just a well, or I guess that's a well site there. So we took that was a lot of scrub trees, cleaned it up, and we did that for under 30,000. And it was quite amazing that we were able to accomplish that, but we did it. And you get all the way up to our biggest purchase was the Crutch property in 2005. And you know, if you look at that, I think what I like about the timeline is you see a lot of activity in certain years. And it's not that we drank more coffee and got all excited and went out and did it. It takes time to do the planning. Just like with the sports complex and Tullamore Park and all that, a lot of things are worked on behind the scenes for a long time. And all of a sudden they just seem to all click. And sometimes it's with the economy. I know. This isn't as pretty as the flip book, but I can actually read it. So that's one of the things we wanted to talk about was, you know, the changes in the last year with our reorganization. And we'll make sure you guys get copies of all of these. We'll have it sent to you. Our goodbye to Debbie Frank, you know, after so many years and being instrumental in that. And with all, you know, goodbyes, there's always hellos. And we wanted to highlight just how many new faces we have and just tell a little bit about them. So you'll see that in there. Talked about some of the community events. One of the things you'll find in here, I'm going to bring it back out because just kind of give an idea of everything we do, but everything from the runs to the dodgeball tournaments, tree planting, Arbor Day, Memorial Day, or the movie in the park. And it's not just our department doing that. We have partners that we work with. And a lot of businesses within the community, within the city, a lot of individuals. So they all come together. So we act more as a facilitator. So that's in there. Talk about each individual one, from the recreation services some of our enrollment numbers so you can see it in the graph form. Not everybody likes numbers. Some people like to see the bars and the charts. The city parks, once again, same thing. Tells a little bit about what we're there for. The cemetery, same thing. Urban forestry, you can see that. Park development. And yes, we had to get our signs in there because they've transformed that park so well. Looking at Tullamore Park right there for the park design things that go through. And then, yes, we do need to have the financial overview. And it's funny because, once again, some people like numbers, some don't. But we wanted to try and tell our story in, I guess, an easier way. If somebody wants every line item, they can get that. But we took it in and, we wanted to show here's where our recreation revenues are coming from, the cemetery, the parks, where our expenses are going, how much we spend per acre compared to the national average. And comparisons, it's our revenue was pretty flat this last year. We actually cut back on a few things, and we were in a survival mode on a lot of stuff. We had a lot of turnover. Picnic reservations were down just barely. Parking was down quite a bit, but we expected that with the Avista South Channel construction. It had an impact.
How is that coming?
It's going to have an impact again this year. I do not expect it to be finished until after the summer. How much they're able to get done before the launch opens up, I don't know. They will be coming to City Council at the next City Council meeting and giving an update. But until they pull the cofferdams, they can't pull out the pump infiltration system, which is taking up about 1/3 of the boat launch parking lot. The actual restoration and everything there, building the boat, the extra lanes for the boat, that's not going to happen until everything else is done. So my gut is we're going to be into next year, probably next spring before it's completely wrapped up.
Back to normal.
Yeah. More of the financial side of it, so we wanted to try and hit the highlights and the summaries, and then, like I said, if people want the line-by-line detail, they can always come to us and through the public records, and we can give it. It's also online right now with the city's budget, so. Big thing, as I said earlier, about the partnerships, that all those things we were not able to do them without that support of the community. And so we wanted to make sure that they were listed. Some things that we did get rid of was listing every member, throwing out our staff member, because that was another 2 pages. When we printed out the budget sheets, I think that was 8 pages. And it was a lot of stuff that no one ever really looked at. So we tried to make this a little more condensed, a little more user-friendly, and the flip book's really nice. So, and no, I did not read my message, and I didn't read the rest of it. I tried to give you some highlights.
We can be proud. We're proud. I'm proud of the park department. I think we have a fabulous park department and director. I thank you. We look at. I've walked our parks and with most people here, it's just like we really have some
Beautiful parks.
that other people can only dream about. Okay, well, that's the end of the annual report. Any commission comments?
That's a good report. It's amazing how many people we impact,
Right.
Yes,
size of our community.
you do.
Well, I have to tell you, staff they work hard. I've got a good staff, and they care about the community, they care about what they do, and they take the time. And it's not just going out and putting the program together. It's not just going out and mowing the grass or fixing a broken sprinkler or handling a service or dealing with a tree dispute between neighbors. And all of that happens, trust me.
Yeah.
But they do care, but they take a lot of pride in what they do, and they're organized. And that's the thing I hear constantly, is people that go to other systems or have come from other areas, and they appreciate the fact that we have an answer for them. And if we don't have an answer, we find it and we get it to them. We take the time. There's an actual face to talk to. Even in the parks, they have people stop and say, hi, how are you doing? There's interaction. There's a human element. And without good staff, it doesn't happen.
And when you talk about staff, I listen, you're short some people, but one of the strengths I think that Dave has is he'll have a position open. If he doesn't get the right person, he doesn't just fill it. And some of those positions have been empty for a while. Did a fabulous job with Brian. And, but you wait for that person to come along that fits, and that's probably why we're as strong as we are in the personnel side. You had some terrible turnover.
We've had some big turnover. The city's had a lot of turnover. The economy has picked up a little bit, and people are looking at jobs and, the opportunities there. And some of the people we hire, they're going to move up.
Oh, yeah.
They
hope so.
want to better themselves. They want to, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I say that with a little bit of a little sadness in that sense. But I'd rather hire somebody else's superstar and get them going than to have just make
Just
do.
fill a spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we've done a very good job of that. And if we can retain the people, and we have on some, that's great. We had a long time where people were here for a long time, so we had some retirements. It's not just, and we've had some that have gotten better opportunities, and it's part of life.
Well, you look at that. You look at that with Debbie leaving. We look at it with Cheri leaving. Yeah. But you look at the success that gained also. Anyway, we're done. Any other comments for anybody? We're adjourned.
Hey.